preparations are underway for the inauguration in 2 weeks' time. Nigeria's President-elect Bola Tinubu, his APC party and their supporters will be keenly conscious of the ongoing cases in the election tribunal challenging Mr. Tinubu's Inec declared victory. And also that the US has today announced visa restrictions on select unnamed Nigerians for undermining the 2023 election. They'll also be aware that many Nigerians feel that the outgoing president, Muhammadu Buhari, who's also from the APC, has over the past 8 years presided over a country that's seen very weak economic growth, deepening insecurity, and a lack of innovative approaches to development, and has failed to tackle numerous problems such as unemployment, rising debt, and the electricity pinch. And now, on top of all that, you've got an election that many see as not being free and credible. But is it fair to blame only the APC, even though they've been in charge for the last 8 years? Or should it include the PDP, which presided over the affairs of this country for 16 years up till 2015, and which many see as laying the foundation for the culture of election rigging in this country? Well, for more on this, I'm joined now in the studio by the lawyer, leading member of the PDP and spokesman of the Atiku presidential campaign, Daniel Bwala. How nice to see you, Daniel.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Let me start by asking you, first of all, your reaction to the announcement today by the US that it's imposing visa restrictions on select unnamed Nigerians for apparently undermining the 2023 election.
It is a good news. It goes a long way to tell us that the U.S. actually stays true to its values and to the ideals that binds countries, as a democratic society. I particularly took cognizance of the choice of words that Anthony Blinken used in announcing the visa restriction. And he said they are committed to deepening democracy and the rule of law. These are two things, democracy and the rule of law. And democracy is the government of the people, for the people, and by the people. It's all about the people, not about few individuals, which Absolutely. Is what has happened. And then the rule of law is, the concept of the rule of law is entrenched in this doctrine that everybody is equal before the law, nobody is above the law, and the law is a set rule to which everybody abides by. It's not a law you set as you move, like the way the Inec chairman, he said this is the rule, and then got into the game midway in the match, he just changed the goalposts. And so this is good news to us. We have made further requests, because oftentimes individuals and countries feel that visa restriction is not a big deal. Especially because they have alternatives to what would have ordinarily taken them to the U.S. But we have a deeper understanding of what that means. U.S. exercise what we call extraterritoriality for the most part. So it is not just being denied the access to the United States of America. Sometimes it sort of increased, enhanced security in other countries to which they are partners.
Well, that would be more effective, wouldn't it?
That's exactly what they do. So, for example, if ordinarily, as a private citizen or a government official, you travel to the UK and you have a seamless security checks while you go in, with visa restriction on you to enter the United States, unknown to you, there are enhanced security checks that you find in our countries to which the American people have a partnership. But it also opens the person up and exposes that person to deeper background check in terms of the assets you have outside of the shores of the country, your communications and who you're communicating with, who are your medical service providers, where do you go and whatever you do. So it is like the case of somebody who has been, placed under a watch list. That's what it means. But there is even a broader aspect. If a visa restriction is placed on me, by extension, my entire family is under surveillance, so to speak, because they have what they call the web. When they conduct investigation, they have a web where one link to the other one linked to the other, and it is expanded. It will surprise you, and then with time we will get to know individuals that are involved in it.
Yes, I was going to say, does it make a difference?
Yeah.
The names of the people have not been made public.
Yeah, it is actually the law of the United States that if a visa, because visa is a personal request, unless America is taking certain steps specifically against that individual. And I think Anthony Blinken made it clear, it is not a visa restriction, it is not a sanction against the government of Nigeria or against the people of Nigeria. It's against the perpetrators of this election fraud. Has that not gone again to establish what we have been talking about? That this election was marred with irregularity. This election was a Broadway show. This election is not something that in the eyes of the common man, we would all live and translate that story to our people. It's the worst election in the history of the Republic. Now, in 2019, there were visa restrictions, but never in terms of the magnitude as compared to this one. This is just the first step. So people don't take it that, okay, what does that mean? No, it's the first step. And this is how they progress. First, they place a visa restriction on you. Number two, they apply extraterritoriality in freezing your assets anywhere in the world. And number three, they place you under criminal surveillance.
But we've heard reports that suggest that the imposition of these visa restrictions is not limited to one party,
Right.
but is across the board.
Yes, correct.
So it could easily affect the PDP, your party.
It could affect PDP, it could affect Labour, it could affect anybody that is practically, not overtly, but covertly and very actively involved in the either election rigging, promotion of violence, or manipulation of the process. But it will interest you to know, and I can say that you can verify, much later it will come out. Majority of these individuals that come under this radar are government functionaries, people in positions of power that abuse the privileges and the position that they've had. It's not just ordinary individuals. So, for example, governors are involved, cabinet members are involved, directors of certain agencies of government are involved, private individuals that act out as their agent in perpetrating this fraud are involved. These are the remote cause, and then you can expand as you move, from that.
But the PDP is involved, is it?
I said it could involve anybody.
Right.
It could involve anybody.
You're saying it could.
It could,
Does
yeah.
it? Because you mentioned the other people
Right.
who you seem to have information
Right.
about that it's roped them in.
Right.
Do you have information whether anybody in your own party is involved?
I want to tell you, anybody can be involved if that person is actively involved in
You're saying
election
can
manipulation.
be. I'm asking you if any person is involved.
I cannot work with the U.S. Embassy.
Well, yeah, but you just identified other people
But this is a fact
who
that
you said are government functionaries.
and you would see that.
So obviously you have that information.
I plead the fifth.
I like that. Well, your party, the PDP, has suggested that the last 8 years have been the worst of times for Nigerians in terms of rising insecurity, deepening poverty, worsening unemployment, increasing debt, and now weakening processes of democracy.
Right.
After what many see as a flawed 2023 presidential election.
Right.
There's 2 weeks to go before President Buhari leaves office. What can he do now to shore up his legacy, or is it too late?
So, partially late, but there are some things he can do, especially in the area of entrenching or strengthening the confidence of the electoral body. You see, because right now there is election petition in court, and there are possible outcomes, one of which could be the ordering of a fresh election or runoff, whatever it is.
Well, he can't do it until the courts decide.
But the government has to be ready.
Yeah.
You understand? The government has to be ready so that when the court makes that decision and then they flung into action. The problem we have in Africa and in Nigeria is that sometimes either tacitly or deliberately we choose not to be prepared. Because I remember the Inec chairman said that they were prepared even for a possible runoff. Now, ordinarily, the president, as I'm telling you, if he wants to leave a legacy, because with this election, he has to a large extent marred the legacy of electoral legacy. Now, in fact, he has invalidated the even signing of the Electoral Act, because the whole essence of the Electoral Act itself was abused in this election. So he can redeem that by first sacking the INEC chairman. Why did I say that? Why am I saying that? Because if the court orders a runoff or a fresh election, not a single citizen in Nigeria will have confidence that this chairman will conduct a free and fair election.
Exactly.
So, and by the time the president becomes the president, whoever he appoints as the INEC chairman, assuming he removes this man, it will take a great deal of supernatural intervention for people to believe that he will not influence that person. But the President Buhari can at this point ask the INEC chairman to go reappoint an unbiased person as the chairman of INEC. Then that person will begin the process of preparing for a possible runoff. Because there are other issues around disqualification, which of course the effect will be that the person who came second will be declared as the winner and the INEC will be asked to issue. These are issues, these are possibilities. But the government must never be sleeping, knowing that the case is in court and there are possible outcomes that will come. This is one way by which you will redeem the already, in my opinion,
right. Well, some have suggested that since the INEC chairman was the one who presided over the election, he should see the court challenges through before he leaves office.
Why?
So INEC is an institution.
Why?
INEC was sued as a legal personality, right? It is not just Professor Mahmoud. He has not been in court, and he has been able to, I don't know if he's able to get that, to raise 4 billion to defend the case. I assume that if you have conducted, in your view, free and fair elections, you probably should have legal department going to court, because what vested interest do you have other than to say, I conducted a free